I hope you get PTSD. And I hope you get no health insurance when you get back into fucking America.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is VB. Welcome to the channel. Today, I want to talk about a person that's currently being flamed online for a lot of her comments against US soldiers. And I won't lie to you, it has nettled me a little bit, but like a little frustration, alright? It hit up close to home. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because a lot of my family has been in the US military, from the Army, Marines, Navy. Currently have a couple cousins in the Navy right now, so they're currently serving. And it all started when I saw a few videos on this streamer called Frogan. She has been getting a lot of flack, like I said, online for a lot of her comments. And to give her some benefit of the doubt, okay? US interventionism is kind of a big issue, at least from back then, because I won't lie to you, I have seen and read and studied certain things that the US military has done. Not a lot of it is good. That, yeah, some things that the US has done doesn't make a lot of sense and is pretty fucked up. Some examples of this, back in Vietnam, using mustard gas on enemies and on our own US troops. Yep, that is not a good thing for us to do. We'll 100% admit, pretty fucked up. Especially a lot of things that has happened in Vietnam, from, you know, butchering civilians and taking out villages, right? It's a lot of war crimes in that time period, okay? Not the proudest moment for the US military. Second, Fallujah. Fallujah also pretty fucked up, ain't gonna lie. If you read into it, especially the use of white phosphorus in those areas. Yep, not the proudest moment, ain't gonna lie. Pretty not great. Yeah, that's all I can really say about it. I will say, US has done things that are pretty bad. Pretty not great, pretty bad. Now back to the troops, back to the individuals that are part of the military. Now, when Frogan went ahead and made the comments that she did, initially didn't really pay much mind to it, okay? I saw some of the videos, I saw the controversy, didn't really give a shit, because never heard of her in my life. Apparently she's had a few rewards saying that she was like the top growing streamer. Didn't care. Not much of a streaming fan. But when I started to think about some things she said about US troops, I started thinking about some of my family that is currently in the military. For example, my dad, he was in Operation Iraqi Freedom. He was a driver for multiple convoys, delivering supplies and food, medicine to cities and also to bases back and forth, right? And he saw some stuff, okay? I ain't gonna lie, my dad's kind of a badass. He has literally took a M249, grabbed that shit from the back seat during one little ambush that he had, placed that shit on the window and fucking let it rip while driving with one hand, okay? He told me this story, pretty fucking badass of him. And he's also told me some things that he wasn't proud of, okay? My dad has PTSD. It has created a lot of problems for him. It has evolved into this thing called conversion disorder, and now he blacks out on occasion. That makes it very hard for him to do a lot of things. For me and my little brother, we like to go out to concerts, go out and do like haunted houses, things like that. He can't handle it, and then next thing he sits down, says he's tired, and then knocks out. I also have two cousins, like I said, that are in the Navy, currently serving. One is right now in Italy, having a good time, right, on leave. Other one is working near Florida, and he is more of a mechanic fixing up all the jets and helicopters that are on his base. The last family member that I want to just point out is my big nono, okay? I'm 100% Italian, so my big nono stands for great grandpa, and he fought in World War II, originally for the Axis Party. Trust me, I know that. Hang in there, okay? I'm getting to the good part. He was in the Axis Party, fighting for Mussolini, but unfortunately, Germany caught up that he was actually Jewish. So when they found out that he was Jewish, they put him to an internment camp with his brother. Sadly, saw his brother die right in front of him, got executed on the spot, and he escaped, joined a Italian resistance movement to overthrow Mussolini, did that, and then he came to America to live out the rest of his days with the rest of his family. That's just a glimpse of the military history in my family. I pretty much have a few other uncles that have served, and I was originally going to serve myself in the National Guard as soon as I got out of high school. But the thing is, my dad, I tried to get his consent. I wanted to get him to tell me, like, hey, go for it, son, because I wanted to be just like him. I wanted to be exactly the man that he used to be, and I idolized my dad, and I idolized my big nono. So when I tried to get his permission to join, he told me, son, I joined in there so you didn't have to. And those words resonated to me for the rest of my life, and I needed to switch up what I wanted to do with my life instead of trying to go into the military. It does sound a little corny, I will admit, okay, for him to straight up just tell me, son, I went in there so you didn't have to. Alright, I understand that. I understand how corny it is, but that is the truth. He literally said that to me. And with this little basis that I painted out for you, this is why I really disagree with Frogan's statement on how US troops should get PTSD. Kind of a hot take, I know, trust me, that kind of lukewarm, understandable. The reason why I say this, and why a lot of people say this, that it's not right, is because the individual soldier isn't responsible for a lot of the things that the US military does. Now, if a soldier is blatantly doing fucking war crimes and they're raping, pillaging, and shooting up a bunch of civilians, no, they are responsible. They need to be put down as a result of that, or at the very least court-martialed into oblivion. But a lot of the troops, especially around those times like Vietnam, Fallujah, Afghanistan, most of the conflicts in the Middle East, right? Those type of soldiers were just following orders. All the things that the government tells them to do passes down the chain of command, down to the general, down to the commanding officer, down to the sergeant, all those things, up to the soldier, right? Up to the infantryman. Every single order they have to follow. I know it sounds easy to say, oh, if you got an order that you disagree with, don't follow it. But that brings up a whole lot of issues for them. You know, that brings up a whole can of worms that they could possibly get court-martialed themselves for disobeying direct orders, fucking dishonorable discharge, a whole bunch of issues that I could possibly bring up, right? So they have to follow it. The soldiers have to follow their orders. It's like that one scene from the Clone Wars, okay? Good soldiers follow orders. That goes not only for the US, but that goes for any military in any country. You're given orders, you're a G.I. Joe, you're an agent of the state. Guess what? That's part of your job description. Follow those orders, do what needs to be done. Simple as that. So when we look at the individual, okay? The individual soldier does not have a say on what matters they can and can't do. And I want to bring up a uncomfortable truth about soldiers in general, all right? No matter what branch or what force they're a part of. Every soldier is trained to kill, is trained to be obedient, is trained to be disciplined and to not question what they're doing. That is a fundamental a soldier does, okay? If you ever played Halo, right, the Master Chief, he does not question what he does. He's basically a machine. It's a little far-fetched, right? But that is kind of the standard that soldiers try to look up to be a tool to be used against the country's enemies. And if you really think about it, if you really think about the mentality of every single one of those individuals, at least a majority of them, they don't really care about the reasoning of the conflict. I mean, for fuck's sake, my dad, okay, he went in there when I was a kid, saw 9/11, was pissed off that that happened. So, guess what? He goes into the army because he wants to fight terrorists. He saw the thousands and thousands of people that fucking died, and he wants to take revenge on them. That was pretty much a majority of those soldiers during that time that decided, yeah, these guys need to be taken out. We're gonna be the tools to be able to do that. Simple as that. So the mentality for a lot of these troops back then was to fight the good fight against enemies that are clearly evil. Now, does that justify the things that they've done? No. No, 100% no. A lot of the troops around the Vietnam era up to, say, Afghanistan, if they were committing blatant war crimes just because, oh, they wanted to take revenge on what they did, or, oh, these guys are evil and they need to be punished, no, it doesn't justify it. It doesn't justify murder of civilians. It doesn't justify destroying property that shouldn't be destroyed. It doesn't justify ruining hundreds, up to thousands, maybe even millions of people's lives from that point to generations forward. What I am saying is these men and women were trained not to think about it, not to think or question what they're doing. That's the whole point. They are meant to be tools to do the government and the country's will. And now this leads me back to Frogan's comments, where I completely disagree with what she said about how they should get PTSD and should kill themselves, because they don't really understand, at least during that time, what was really going on. They just understood that these are enemies of the state and they need to be taken care of. I am following the orders that are given to me to complete the operations and objectives to lead to their destruction, and I have been trained to kill, to dismantle these organizations, to dismantle these other armies, to dismantle these other cell groups of terrorists, to uphold the sanctity of my country and for the world in general. That's the belief that a lot of these troops actually believed in. And now, years later, once they start looking back at it, that's when they realize, oh shit, oh wow, we did some things that are...
This is not okay. This needs to stop now. This is cancer. This is so much cancer.
I'll blame the higher-ups, the generals, the CEOs, the politicians during that time that gave out said orders. I would blame them. I would look into what operations that were conducted during certain times, right? Fallujah, during Iraqi freedom, during Saddam's rule, okay? During Vietnam. Hell, even I would go even back during World War II, during the Gulf War, any of those things. I would question the people that gave out those orders, the politicians that decided to enlist these troops into doing these things. Those are the people to blame, not those individual troops, the politicians. Look, I'll tell you right now, I'm not really big into politics. I just understand that you should never really blame a single person for a lot of the mistakes and a lot of the crimes committed by the whole. Is it wrong for those troops to follow through and commit some of the atrocities that they've done throughout history? Yes, it is wrong. But like I said, they're not there to question, they're there to follow. And so, I implore a lot of people, okay? Kind of a big word for me, implore. But I implore a lot of people to try to do the research and to see who gave out those orders to do the things that they did. To make a long video short, fuck Frogan. Look at history. Do your own research. Don't blame one person for an entire administration's complete fuck up. That's all I know. I'm going to work. See ya.